Good morning. I hope you guys can hear me all right today. I don't have my microphone plugged in. I have the phone plugged in. And I've kind of been on a mini vacation for the last few weeks, exploring new opportunities. And so I haven't been with you guys too much, but you guys have all been in my thoughts and in my prayers. And as usual, I do my best work on the fly. So I got this book the other day, and I just started reading it, and it's actually pretty damn good. Now, there's a huge copyright warning on this thing, so I risk, when you have nothing, it really doesn't matter, but just the same, there's a little bit of integrity that goes here, so I'm not going to read too much of this book to you, and when I finally go through the entirety of the book, I'll give you my recommendation of whether or not I would encourage everybody else to acquire it, because I believe in supporting people who put in the time, due diligence, and effort. I know what it's like. I've been doing it for years now. I, of course, don't care who shares my information, because my true objective and goal is to unite people and enlighten them. So this page here, it says, I know my right. You don't know shit, especially about your rights. The rights, not your rights. Okay, there's a difference. They're rights. They're not your rights. They're rights. They're rights of everybody. You have no idea what title to use when claiming a damn right. So shut up. First off, what nationality would you claim to title yourself? Because if it's any other nationality than white, you have no constitutional rights established. Well, first off, the Constitution doesn't establish any rights. The rights have already been clearly fucking established. So, when we look at the literature here, I think there's a palpable error going on with words. I'm not saying that the message isn't true. I'm just saying the words just don't resonate with my soul, my heart, because there is no such thing as constitutional rights. It's just a piece of paper. Nobody can hear me. Hold on. All right. Let me try this. Is there? Oh, there's a cat out there. All right. Can you hear me now? Is that a little better? Alright, you can hear me. Good. Good morning over there, gorgeous lady. Alright. I know my right. You don't know shit, especially about your rights. The rights, not your rights, they're rights of the people. They're rights of all of the heavenly creators' creation. We all have rights. They're not your rights. They're just rights. Okay? You have no idea of what title to use when claiming a damn right. So shut up about your rights. First off, what nationality would you claim to title yourself? Because if it's any other nationality than white, you have no constitutional protections to your rights established, is how I would have worded that. It says in here, you have no constitutional rights established. Well, the Constitution, a piece of paper with fucking ink on it, doesn't give you a right to do shit, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a subtle reminder of your rights. Because the Founding Fathers, in their infinite wisdom, figured over time, history would repeat itself, people would be dumbed down again, and so they felt the need to put it on paper. I myself, with my vision, would have carved that shit in stone, okay? And in some courts, it is carved in stone. For example, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. You go there, and it's all carved in stone on the walls. It's written everywhere. There's scripture all over the walls of that establishment. Dred versus Scott decision. The majority upheld that a Negro whose ancestors were imported into the U.S. and sold as slaves, whether enslaved or free, could not be an American citizen and therefore did not have standing to sue or expect remedy for such a case in federal court. Scott brought a new suit in federal court. Scott's master maintained that a Negro or descendant of a slave could be a citizen in the sense of Article 3 of the Constitution. Taney further held that the Missouri Compromise of 1820 was unconstitutional and forecloses Congress from freeing slaves within federal territories. The open opinion showed difference to the Missouri courts, which held that moving to a free state did not render Scott emancipated. Finally, Taney ruled that slaves were the property under the Fifth Amendment, and that any law that would deprive a slave owner of that property is unconstitutional. So constitutionality, you have no rights, because the rights aren't your rights. You have no right to be quoting rights that have been structured to keep you a slave. Why would the master give the slave a key to free themselves? You are not even allowed to establish rights under the Constitution. He thought he knew his rights. Also, Washington, March 6th, 1857, Dred Scott is still a slave. In a decision that crushed Scott's hope for freedom, the Supreme Court today threw out his case and ruled that no Negro enslaved or free is a citizen of the United States. Speaking for the court's majority, Chief Justice Taney declared the people of the Negro race are not included under the word citizens, which is a lowercase citizen, in the Constitution, and can therefore claim none of the rights and privileges which that instrument provides and is secured to the citizens of the United States. The court swept down as unconstitutional the Missouri Compromise, which excludes slavery in its territories north of Missouri. Scott had thought under the terms of the compromise he was automatically freed once his master brought him to the free sector of Louisiana Territory. The courts ruled Congress had no right to outlaw slavery in any U.S. territory. Court decision in brief: all Negroes or coloreds who call themselves African American are denied citizenship. Your claiming of the title of an heir of a slave make you a slave of servitude by volunteer consent and voter registration application. I keep telling you guys how important it is to be an elector and that of a diplomat, and people continue to sign up to vote. And it's just really disturbing, because when you accept that contract, when you enter into that contract, you're not bound by statutes, codes, city ordinances, rules, and regulations, because you entered into the contract and you agreed to the compact. So you're bound by it. But the good news is you can reverse all that shit, okay? Full disclosure wasn't had. It's unconscionable. If you're reading the good book, and I carry it with me everywhere I go, it tells you in here the only way out of a contract is if it's unconscionable, ladies and gentlemen. In this book, it tells you if you make a deal with the devil, the good Lord expects you to uphold it and fulfill it and remain in honor. And the only way out of that contract, the only way out, is if you discover that it's immoral. Now, in contract law, there's a number of ways out of a contract. One, full disclosure wasn't had. Two, it's not mutually beneficial for all parties involved. And three, there's false and deceptive, misleading language within the instrument, depriving you of the ability to make a voluntary, knowingly, willingly, and intentionally entering into a contract with full disclosure being had. So that's contract law. In the good book, it just simply says if it's immoral in any way, that's your key out. You can walk away from it. You can dissolve it. However, it does tell you in here, you make a deal with the devil. It's not immoral. It's not unconscionable. The good Lord expects you to uphold it. Now, that's crazy to me. When I read that, I was like, are you kidding me? Wow. So if you've been consciously aware that you're entering into a deal with the devil and his minions, and that contract doesn't hurt anybody else and is beneficial for you and it's beneficial for the contracting party, you're expected to uphold it. You can get repentance later and forgiveness later, but unless you can find where it's unconscionable, then you're expected to fulfill it. And that's called remaining in honor at all cost. Voting means to enslave by registration. The Constitution was created 70 years after 1705, and it did not and could not make colored indigenous people into classified people because they did not have consensus, and what became the Civil War started the moment the Constitution was created. Now, the final and only reason you must be real and come out of amongst them is the 14th Amendment. Now, what he's talking about, in my learnedness, is coming up out of her, which is stated in here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this book, I can't tell you how powerful this book is. I can't express it in words. It was something that 16 days in prison with that book, fasting, drinking nothing but water, no nicotine, no coffee, no nothing. And I'm telling you, the clairvoyancy of my mind while gathering the information out of this book was just, I'm still at a loss for words on how powerful that book truly is. Now, the 14th Amendment was an attempt to allow Negroes to operate in commerce, you see, because everything is about international commerce. Everybody likes to say that the Romans killed Jesus Christ. It wasn't the Romans that actually wanted Jesus Christ dead. It was the merchants. And what they're operating under now is still the law of merchants. And don't get it twisted. I know it's still the Roman civil law. I get that. I understand that. But it wasn't the Romans that killed Jesus. In fact, they passed the decision back and forth to a number of different entities, although they, in the end, were responsible for handling the execution. It wasn't their decision. It wasn't their decision, all right? And they did have a decision to say, we're not going to execute, but that was the position of the government at that time, was to execute the ones who were allegedly found to be guilty. So they did play a part. And something that I noticed in court, and it dawned on me, a little over 6-8 months ago, in a court setting, you have 12 jury members. And I was reading the good book one day, and it dawned on me, Jesus had 12 disciples. And every last one of them was fatally flawed. Every last one of them had something that they weren't truthful about or deceptive about in some way. But Jesus already knew that, right? And as I started to look at the court system and the structure of the 12 jury members, and it resonated in my mind that there were 12 disciples. And then I was like, well, then that means the man being persecuted is Jesus. Every time in those synagogues, they hated Jesus so much that they recreate his death and his persecution every day in those fucking courts. Every day. Every day. So when you're being persecuted, that all capital name is being persecuted, right? Because it's not you being persecuted. It's the I got a visitor here. What is this guy doing? Yeah, well, was a new windshield at one point. I have a feeling this visitor is going to try and jump in my window this morning. I'm not a big fan of cats, but for some reason they always follow me and come to me. It's so creepy, it's weird. So, anyway, the symbolism of being in the court with 12 jury members. Remember, Jesus had 12 disciples, and he was persecuted, right? So they remaster and recreate the persecution of Jesus Christ every day in those courts. That's exactly what's happening. And, they can deny it all they want, but like I tell them, you want me to believe you or my lying fucking eyes? That's my question to you. They say it's in the interest of justice. Whose justice? Who's just within that room? I'd like to know. And if it's a matter of financial gain, can there ever really be justice? Because justice, as far as I'm concerned, is based on sound principles and doctrines. It's not based upon financial gain. And if it is based upon financial gain, then there could never be such a thing as justice. That means that only the people with wherewithal could seek justice. And where's the equity in that, right? Just think about that for a minute. Everybody always wants this. You go to file a claim and they want this. And then I ask them, well, what species do you speak of? What ISO? Well, we're not dealing with you. If you're not going to comply and you're not going to give us what you know you need to give us, well, I just simply ask for clarification. What do you want? Dollars. Dollars of what? You don't know what a dollar is? I don't know what you're speaking of. And what I find preposterously odd is the fact that you can't explain it either, Lucy. I mean, you want dollars. Like, if I want a car part, I don't just call up and go, hey, I want one of them thingamabobs with a whatchamacallit. And the guy goes, yeah, I know exactly what you need. Shit, come on down. We got one. No. He's going to go, well, what automobile? Is it a Ford Fiesta or a Ford Bronco? I mean, that kind of makes a difference here. The body shapes are not the same. You know, you want a front left fender for what? Well, you know, a car. Oh, great. Yeah, we've got them all. Just come on down. We'll get you one. Right? So dollars of what? And the other thing is, explain that damn peso symbol. Now, I know what it is, but many times they don't know what it is, or at least they have plausible deniability to say, well, it is what it is. Everybody knows what that is. It's common, Derek. It's common for you to know what we're talking about. And because you didn't graduate school, I guess we understand that you're just stupid. Okay, well, I can be stupid all fucking day long, but here's the point. I'm going to act like a 5-year-old kid, and my favorite friends are who, what, where, when, how, and why. And if you can't explain your juxtaposition, well, then I guess I don't have anything to offer you. It's pretty fucking simple. So when I went into court not too long ago, I like to carry me around some real, actual value, intrinsic value, right? Now, this isn't a Morgan silver dollar. This is just a piece of silver. But I can go anywhere in the world with this piece of silver. It's a lot like a Rolex. Anywhere I go in the world, it has value. It doesn't need to be inspected. It doesn't. All they need to see is, yep, that's sure as shit, that's silver. We'll take that. You want a loaf of bread? You want a gallon of milk? We'll take that. Now, if I go to places like Venezuela, for example, and I find some of their old currency blowing around on the road, and I pick that up and I say, hey, I'd like a gallon of milk. And I bring that, let's say I bring that currency over here stateside, and I try and use it at the store. The first thing they're going to say is they're going to deny it. We don't accept that here. Well, why not? Because it don't have any value. Well, who says it doesn't have any value? Well, the Venezuela people say it doesn't have any value because that's why it's blowing down the frickin' street. However, if I presented one of these puppies, well, sure. Would you like about 15 gallons of milk, maybe? Sure. So what I'm trying to point out is this intrinsically has been money accepted internationally for over 10,000 years. I'm just talking about the precious metal, not talking about what's stamped on it. Now, this, what I have in my hand, is called a trade dollar. It's a Morgan silver dollar, and it was authorized by Congress, okay? And it is called a trade dollar. I used to think this was a United States dollar, and my buddy James said, Derek, hate to let you run around there ignorantly speaking about shit you ain't got a clue about, so let me help you out. I said, what you talking about, James? He said, what you're holding in your hand is a trade dollar, and it's 90% silver, 10% alloys, and he says, it is in fact authorized by Congress. I said, okay, great. He said, I said, well, I tried to bond my case the other day with one of these puppies, and the clerk of the court got so mad that she threw it back at me and refused to accept my tender of payment. Now, studying equity and trust law and the maxims of equity, an offer of tendering of payment made and refused liberates the debtor, removes me as surety, and makes her the surety of the case, which means she is liable for all of the debt due and owing, or the alleged debt due and owing. Now, remember, in order for a debt to exist, there has to be a true bill due and owing, ladies and gentlemen. Where is that true bill due and owing? When I went up against CPS, and rather they came across me and decided to come at me sideways, there were a lot of dirty little tricks these rat bastards like to use. One, garnishing the bank account, which means if they have the authority without due process of law to garnish that bank account, somehow or another you've entered into a contract with them. Because if man giveth, man can most certainly taketh away. If corporation giveth, corporation can most certainly taketh away. But if God giveth, ain't no man on this planet that can take that away, ladies and gentlemen. So what's really happening in society, or alleged society, because there are multiple societies within societies. For example, the Bar Association is its own private society. So when I have judges tell me, in society, my first question that comes to my mind is, whose society? What society you speak of? The society I speak of upholds the fucking law, right? They're not involved in manipulating language in order to force people into contracts and swindle them out of their sweat equity, their labor, their energy, right? The society I'm part of would never do such a thing. In fact, the society I'm part of would give the shirt off their fucking back to make sure there's food on that fucking table for the family next door. So what society are you part of again? Oh, we don't want to talk about that. But he who makes the statement has the onus of probandi and the burden of fucking proof to qualify their statement. That's why Judge Karen Lynn Noakes recused herself from my case the other day. She made a fucking ignorant move, a stupid-ass statement. And maybe she did it on purpose because she knew I'd catch her in it, and that would give her the grounds to recuse herself and look good amongst her constituents and her colleagues. If that's what she did, chess move well played. Just lay over that rook, lay down your queen, and put your bishop down and just surrender, because that's a wise move around a man like me, because I will dance circles around your dumb ass. So, people go, well, Derek, why are you so hostile towards these people? They fuck up people's lives. That's their fucking job. Their job is to operate as an extension of the military, war against the people, and fleece them of their life source energy. Why I'm on to Pastor Pope. I'll check that out, brother. Anyway, let's get back to this book. It focuses mainly on the 14th Amendment. I'm colorblind. My mother raised me right. I am colorblind. I don't give a fuck if you look like Gumby and you're green. It don't matter to me. You got a good personality, a good heart, a good soul. I'm with you all the way. I don't give a fuck if you're toothless, a hunchback. I just don't give a shit. I am fucking literally colorblind. I don't see that shit at all. I look at your soul. I look through the windows of your soul. I see your soul. I see you for who you are. I know that people aren't fucking perfect. I got my own skeletons in my own fucking closet. I don't pass judgment against anybody to the best of my fucking ability. I am a man, and I am fatally flawed, all right? So, with that said, we'll continue on with this, because I think there's some good stuff in here. 14th Amendment was an attempt to allow Negroes to operate in commerce. The damn dollar, or the action of commencing in commercial instrument exchange. But it only works in tandem with the First Amendment. But because the 14th Amendment is the trust and must be voluntarily contracted with to receive benefits, the First Amendment sets the definition of men or man as being a white Christian male. The 14th Amendment commanded commerce as we know it by controlling who? We are in commerce. We voluntarily contract with the 14th Amendment when we don't invoke the fact that we were not given full disclosure, and by signature, and as assumed citizens, you must apply for a driver's license to travel, sacrificing a God-given right to travel on U.S. roads unbothered for a license that grants you permission to drive for a fee. A colored indigenous man must be a 14th Amendment citizen. in order to make contracts in commerce. Otherwise, blacks are considered chattel property, the same as a horse, cow, or goat. Now sparks are firing in your head because a light has been lit. You should realize that this is how they categorize us on the Wall Street Stock Exchange under REI, CDs, mortgages, blocked grants, and such, because this is how we are grouped together and traded for the interest. You reside in a world based on legal and illegal, but I live in a world of lawful and unlawful. All right. So again, in this book, there's some great stuff in here. Until you master thyself, you cannot set yourselves in heaven. All right. So I talk about this a lot. The land of milk and honey. It's here on this great earth, ladies and gentlemen. And I see people all the time that walk around in hell. And they live in this misery because nobody's ever showed them the obverse side of this coin. And only through your trials and tribulations do some men's minds, and when I say men, I mean men and women alike, do the cogs start turning, going, wait, this just doesn't make sense. It doesn't resonate with my heart. It don't resonate with my soul. I feel like I'm a slave. This system was... Although it's under the guise that it's for justice and what's right and equality and fairness, something in this system isn't correct. And you start evaluating the history, and you're like, JFK, murked and murdered. You got Martin Luther King, murked and murdered. You got all these people, Rosa Parks, beaten for sitting somewhere on a conveyance. I mean, are we serious? Are we serious, guys? So you start to look at this and you start to evaluate the history. You start to see the bigotry. You start to see how, although they proclaim to be good Christian people, they still thought they were entitled to owning other people, which is bullshit. I don't give a fuck how you look at it. It's bullshit. It reminds me of the churchgoers that show up on Sunday, go to church, and they're all polite to one another. And as soon as they walk out the church, they're all like, fuck you, Todd. I'll repent on Sunday for that one, baby. Fuck you, Todd. Fuck you. I mean, it's all for show. It's all for show. Are they really practicing what they're reading? Or are they going to church just because it looks good in society and they run a business? And as soon as they get out, it's, Tom, you're an asshole. Fuck you, Tom. You know? I watched a pastor. He took over a church and he dressed up as a homeless man, all tattered up, mud on his face and everything. And he's outside in front of the church and all his congregation walks by him in the morning. And, he's asking for help. He's asking for a handout. And I think there was only one man in the entire congregation that attempted to help this man. And so everybody's in the church, and there's kind of a rumbling going on about this man sitting out there in front of the church, begging and groveling for people and praising the Lord and thankful for his life, but could use some help. And everybody in the church is groveling about it, and he shouldn't be out there. Maybe we should call the police and have him removed. And all of a sudden, the crowd gets real quiet. The congregation of people sitting in that church start to look stupefied because the man that they passed, who looked like a bum, who looked like he needed help, all these Christian people walked right past him. Some of them not even giving him any attention at all, just looking the other way as they walked through the door. And he come to the podium and he said, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the new pastor of your church." Boy, I get goosebumps talking about it. I would have loved to have been there because I don't often pass people on the highway that need help. It's very rare that I would ever pass somebody up. So I know what I would have done in that situation. This isn't a hindsight thing. I'd give him whatever the hell I had in my pocket because it was better to give to that man than it would have been to give to that damn offering plate. That man was in need of help. That man needed a sandwich. Or at least he appeared to have needed a sandwich. In the end, we come to find out that man was the pastor and he was trying to touch each and every one of their hearts that morning. And I believe he did. And it's just such a powerful story. I'll try and find it later and I'll post it on Facebook here. But it's important to know yourself. You know, you can run around all day long, let people tell you their fucking opinions, what they think is right, true, and correct. And that's all good. Take the substance, disregard the form, grab what's good and nutritious to your soul, and take it with you and carry it on. Every one of you has a lesson to teach me, and I hope in turn I have something to offer you. And we can all learn from each other. So one of the things that we need to start doing in the communities is talking to the mayor, the sheriff, and the local politicians, quote unquote. And we need to make sure that they're willing to actually sign an oath of office under Article 6. And follow Title 4, subsection 101, as well as an oath of office to the state constitution. If you look in your state constitution, that oath in there is very clear. The oath has nothing to do with God. So any oath that you get that says, "So help me God," is not a proper oath. That is an oath to deceive you. That is an oath under Title 5, 3331, for profit for a corporation. We need to put these people back in check, or we need to make sure that they are run out of town, that they no longer involved in politics. They might not have to leave, but they damn sure going to step down. It's time for the true American people who know the difference between right and wrong to stand up and start leading this country in the right damn direction. For too long, we've sat around going, what can we do? I'm just one man. Well, I tell you what, you can walk through a field barefoot. I tell you what, it's that one little prick. It's that one little needle that jabs itself. It's that one sliver that finds its way into your toe that makes a fuck of a difference on how you walk, don't it? So be the sliver, guys. Have the courage of a mustard seed and stand up. And remember, if that mustard seed, you being that mustard seeds, get put in the dirt, remember, as it gets watered, it grows. Don't be afraid to be put in the dirt. Don't be scared of that shit. Take your licks, take your lumps, get up, dust yourself off, and go, shit, we got this. I can't tell you how many times I've been in and out of jail, standing up for what's right, just, and fair, walking into other people's courtrooms for their alleged courts, standing up for them, and being hauled out of the courtroom by gun-toting morons whose job is to make sure there's no crimes afoot, who openly watch all kinds of tyrannical bullshit occur and do nothing. Why? They're ignorant. I don't believe these men that wear uniforms and a badge are evil men. I don't believe that at all. I believe in my heart of hearts that they're just not learned. They're willfully ignorant after I speak to them because I give them the literature needed to help them ascend to the mind, and they go, I listen to the judge and the attorney general. You don't fucking get it, do you, Gomer Pyle? You're part of the fucking problem if you're not going to stand up and protect the people like you swore you would do. And here's my point. I know no agent and agency has truly read the fucking Constitution. I'll put my nuts on it. And here's why I say that. Because if they truly had, every last one of them would realize in their state constitution that they didn't take the proper fucking oath. That's how I know they didn't read that motherfucker. How you like that? So ask your local sheriff. Are you opposed to taking the Article 6 oath? Are you opposed to taking Title 4 101 oath? Are you opposed to taking the state constitutional actual oath? Will you present me the oath that you actually took and signed? And did you give a birth certificate when you pledged your oath? Did you give a birth certificate? Because I'm led to believe that birth certificate is a bond. So what need would law enforcement or the attorney general or the governor have for your birth certificate when you give your oath of office and as you enter into your training through the State Patrol Police Academy? Why do you have to give up a birth certificate? Think about that. They ask for a birth certificate when you go to the hospital to get work done on you? Nope. They ask for a birth certificate when you go to the grocery store? Nope. But they ask for a birth certificate when you join police academy training? Is it starting to resonate in your mind what that birth certificate really is? You starting to see it? 'Cause I'm going to tell you right now, I had a conversation with a local sheriff not too long ago because I wanted him to understand the importance of a sheriff's inquiry. And he goes, Derek, I've never heard of that before, but I'll talk to the local DA here and see what he has to say about it. So you can't. Local DA is full of shit, don't know their ass from the hole in the ground, and their very job is to keep you fucking stupid. You're going to have to research this one on your own, buddy. And if you like, I can give you the literature, but that's only if you request it from me. I'm not going to force something down your throat you're not going to fucking read, and I don't like wasting my time. So if you don't want it, I'm not going to hand it to you. But I would surely, thoroughly enjoy sitting down and having a conversation with you. So a little bit later, Mr. Anonymous calls me up, and he says, did you talk to the sheriff? I said, yeah. He says, did you ask him about that birth certificate? I go, no, I forgot. I said, but you know what? I'll go back down there. So I zip it down there again. I said, hey, I got a question. And you know, I only seek for you to be honest because what I'm doing is for us all in the entirety and the preservation of peace and harmony amongst this community. So I'm not out to get you. I'm not out to get you to answer a question that later on I'm going to sue you for or anything like that. I said, I just got a couple questions and I'd like you to be honest with me. He said, all right. He said, you took that oath of office, right? He said, yeah. I said, you write anything on the back of that oath of office? Did you allonge any statements of fact on the back of that, to that oath of office? He goes, I really can't recall. I said, all right. And he says, I'm being honest with you, Derek. I really just don't recall. I said, okay. I said, I got another question for you. He says, what is it? I said, did you give him a birth certificate when you took the position of sheriff when you were elected? He said, as a matter of fact, I did. I said, did you write anything on the back of that bond? Well, I don't know that it's a bond, but I can't recollect whether or not I wrote anything on the back of it. I said, did you give any orders with it? Did you allonge a piece of paper to that birth certificate and give him orders? Or did you endorse it in any way, shape, or form? Or was it just a blank banker's endorsement? Is it just abandoned securities that you willfully hand to these people? And the lawyers do everything on the back end, not for your benefit, but for the benefit of their principal. Because it's a corporation. They're just here doing business. Now, my point to all this is if I did business like these fucks are doing business, I'd be in prison right now. I'd be in prison so fucking fast it wouldn't even be funny. Racketeering, deceptive trade practices, all kinds of fucking shit. Theft by taking, false promises. They'd throw the book at me. I'd never get out of a fucking cage. I promise you that. But somehow these cretins are getting away with it. So let's figure it out. Let's ask for their oaths of office. Let's see if they'll actually take a pledge to the 6th fucking amendment of the United States of America's Constitution. Let's see if the Attorney General will even allow them to do it. Now, if that don't set a red flag off in the fucking Sheriff Department, I don't know what will. When the Attorney General goes, hey, Butch, dude, I don't know what you're trying to do here. Well, I'm reading the Constitution. I'm supposed to uphold it. Well, Butch, I hate to tell you this, but Butch, we can't allow you to take an Article 6 oath. We're not going to recognize that. You don't think that'd cause the sheriff to start to fucking think a little bit about why is the Attorney General telling me I can't take a true and correct fucking oath per the state constitution and per the fucking federal constitution? How is it that I'm being barred from doing that? So maybe we help our fellow brothers and sisters open their fucking eyes instead of being so hostile and aggressive to them. Because I don't believe that all those men are bad. I don't believe that all those men are evil. I don't believe those men and women go to work every day going, I'm off to fuck the American people. Hoorah. I don't believe it. I don't believe a lot of the military is bad, but they're under some piss poor guidance, and their lack of due diligence leads them to be incompetent, which is a sad thing. It's something that we all have to work on together. I was incompetent and ignorant, and for a lot of purposes, I'm still incompetent and ignorant, but every day I wake up reading new things so I can gain the knowledge needed to help convey the message to you to build a stronger community across the board. some of these agents and agency that speak to me, they're like, Derek, I agree with 90% of what you're talking about. What do you want me to do? I'd like for you to start studying. Here's some material. I'd like you to come together with me and see if we can ascend to the mind somehow and figure out a solution, a viable fucking solution just for this specific area. Because if we can lead by example here, it'll spread like fucking wildfire. And freedom will ring once again. Together we can conquer, divided we will absolutely fall. I watched an audio yesterday. I always share things that I find interesting on this Facebook here. And it was a gentleman talking about holding grand juries and the reason for coming together and compelling a grand jury. Now, something he didn't talk about was the sheriff's inquiry, which is what Mr. Anonymous blessed me with. He goes, dude, the sheriff has the ability to do a sheriff's inquiry, round up 25 people in the community, whether they're volunteer fire department, whatever they are. He can pull them all together and go, hey, look, I think a crime is afoot. I'm not 100% sure, but you guys voted me in to protect you. I'm here to do my fucking job. I would like you to review this information. And if any of you guys in this community, if 25 of you here in this community read this and agree that there is cause for concern and an action needs to be taken, that you feel that this is unlawful in any way and that it encroaches upon any of our rights here as a society together, I will move this forward. But I have to bring it to you people because it's my job. It's what you voted me in for. It's what you elected me to do, was to protect you. And I don't go to the fox guarding the hen house to ask him if he's eating chickens. It's my job to evaluate the information, bring you the evidence. You, the people, are the deciding factor because, after all, you are the government. And I need you to tell me whether or not this is right or it's wrong. And if you find it wrong in any way, shape, or form, we'll move it up the chain of command. But I need you to authorize me to move forward. Just like you voted me in, I need you to believe in me and authorize me to move this action forward. I believe criminal activity is afoot. And if you see it too, then sign off on this so we can move this up the chain of command and we can get proper attention to these issues and get them removed out of our land. Whether it be people unjustly enriching themselves under false promises, taking an oath of office, unjustly enriching themselves, or whether it be statutes, codes, city ordinances, rules, and regulations that violate the Constitution and absolutely destroy the values that this great land was built upon and the principles and doctrines. The injustice too rampant. We need a cloning machine to make 1 million or more of you, Derek. Yeah, well, here's the cloning machine right here. We're going to use Facebook for a little bit. And all I'm doing is planting seeds. That's all I can do is plant seeds. I know from being in many physical confrontations and fights. Right, I've never been to war, but in hindsight, I've been to war with a lot of things. I've been at war with injustice. I've been at war with people who abuse people in front of me. But one thing I know is you can't fix fucking stupid. You could beat the shit out of it all day long. And don't get me wrong, it's fun to beat the shit out of stupid. It's a fucking blast. But at the end of the day, when they're all healed up, they're still just fucking stupid. It don't fucking help them any. So I kind of had to get over that aggression part of my life and move to something else more constructive. Because beating the shit out of stupid don't fix fucking stupid. It just don't do it. I've tried. Trust me. I have fucking tried. So what's the next best thing? Become educated. Plant those seeds. Get people to start fucking opening their eyes and using their cogs within their mind to start evaluating what we can do. And like I tell a lot of people, you come to me bitching about a situation more than once, all you're effectively doing is bitching. You come to me with a problem, bring 3 viable fucking solutions, or all you're effectively doing is bitching. And I don't have time for that shit. Like the other day, I provided a bunch of solutions in one of my audios for the abduction of offspring, or the abduction of your grandparents, because make no mistake about it, you don't want to help your fucking kids? Get this shit. You make it past 65 and them motherfuckers will take your ass too. Just wait. You don't fucking believe me? I talk to people all the time in nursing homes that said, I never wanted to fucking be here. I was forced to be here by the government. And when they forced me into this fucking shithole they call assisted fucking living, they took all my fucking assets. My bank accounts, you don't think it's gonna fucking happen? You don't give a fuck about the kids? You might want to start thinking about you, because you're the next one when you start shitting into pens that's gonna be taken from your fucking house. Your shit's gonna be liquidated, and your old ass gonna be sitting in a fucking nursing home like a prune, and none of your family gonna come see you. You ain't got nothing to offer anymore. Yeah, it's sad. This is real fucking sad. My mom used to take care of a lot of people, and I have to be very careful about what I say because there's confidentiality involved. All right. And there's ethics involved here. But I frequented a place that she worked quite a bit. And I enjoy my elders. God love them. The stories I used to hear from them, for example, there was a man from New York. I will not give his name. He has since passed. God rest his soul. He was a cop in the 30s, out there in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, out there in New York. And it was interesting because he said when he was a cop, you had a gun, a badge, a baton, and a fucking whistle. That's what he had, a whistle. There wasn't no fucking radios back then. It was a whistle. And if he was chasing a mobster through town, he's blowing his whistle with the light on top of his car, hoping some other agent and agency would see them whisk by and join suit and chase. And I was just amazed by that. He said, you ever watch that movie, Dick Tracy? And I said, as a matter of fact, I have. He goes, it was a lot like that, Derek. It really was. You know, in Chicago, New York, them places, it really was like that. It was just amazing because you don't see the history books written like that. I mean, the knowledge that man possessed, I could have spent 100 years sitting there talking to him because it was just so unbelievably brilliant. And the thing is, it was his truth. It wasn't hearsay. It's hearsay coming from me to you, but it wasn't hearsay from him. It was his firsthand knowledge, experience, and testimony of what happened in his life, what the government was doing at that time, and the fact that he was affiliated with it. And even he back then said, although the government wasn't near as overbearing as it is today, it was still overbearing back then. It was still too big even back then. Now look at the monstrosity we have because we continue to just lay around going, well, what can we do? We can start educating the people in our community. You can change single-handedly one fucking town. You can do it. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to pull people together. I saw the other day, there was a school board meeting and the people congregated and they decided to hold a church sermon right there at the board meeting. Now, what's interesting is any other time you go in there and try and voice your concerns and thoughts in a board meeting, whether it be for school, city council, whatever, you got 3 to 5 minutes. 3 to 5 minutes, sir. 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. And we're just going to let you know that because I had to explain this to you, you don't have 3 to 5 minutes anymore because I just used up 45 seconds of your 5 minutes. So go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, you can start now, but now you only have 3 minutes. You got 3 minutes. But hold on. Wait a minute. I'm a representative for FISA, and we'd like to talk to your community. We're interested in bringing some business into your community, and we'd sure like to talk to you guys. Fuck, you got 8 hours. You got 2 weeks. You got whatever time you need. You're a multinational, $500 billion a year industry. Come on down. You can talk to us until we're fucking sleeping, baby. We love you. Come on in. Now, how is it the corporations can get 8 hours, 15 hours, 2 fucking weeks of your county board's time, your city board's time, your school board's time? But when you, an active participant in the community, seeking to do good, what's right, just, and fair for the fellow brothers and sisters you got in your community, you get 3 to 5 fucking, get the fuck out of here with that dog shit. Boy, oh boy, I just want to fucking take my belt off, bend him over the table, lift the goddamn skirt up, and spank that ass. Get the fuck out. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Can't do it all by yourself. You're going to have to recruit some of your friends, your family, your loved ones to come join you, some people who support you. But it's time for a good change. And that change don't happen with Obama. That change ain't going to happen with Trump. That change ain't going to happen with anybody else but you and your friends and your family and your community. That's where the change comes. But I'll tell you what, when y'all stop participating in their Ponzi fucking scheme, guess what? They'll come groveling to you. What can we do for you guys? Right now, they go and grovel to FISA. They go and grovel to Merck. They go and grovel to the federal government. You need to flip that role around and be like, motherfuckers, you need me, I don't need you. So you need to be coming down over here and getting on your knees and saying, what can I do for you? You can start serving the Lord. You can start serving this fucking community properly. Many of your people that are involved in your county boards and city boards have never been in business before. They don't study the law. They don't understand business at all. They have no idea what they're doing. And the proof is in the pudding when I go to these meetings and I ask them very poignant questions and they go, well, we'll take that under advisement. We'll talk to our attorney about it and see what we can do. Okay. So none of you asshats who have been elected and put in a position to do right by the people can use common sense and open a fucking book and make a determination for yourself. You're going to ask a lawyer? Oh, that's right, because you're administering a principal corporation, an umbrella corporation, for the benefit of the principal, not for the people. See, when they say principal, know this, they ain't fucking talking about you. They ain't talking about you. Our boards are full of attorneys. You bet they are. That 13th Amendment was ratified, and I was talking to James Bethel about it. He goes, yeah, Derek, they want to tell you that it wasn't ratified. I go, I know. He goes, go look at the original Constitution for the state of Nebraska. So I go and look it up. Lo and behold, the fucker's handwritten. Imagine that shit. It's fucking handwritten. Calligraphy, beautiful handwriting. I said, son of a bitch. The 13th Amendment is in that motherfucker. He goes, yep. I go, wow, that's impressive. I go, for something that's not ratified and for a state that wasn't a state right away after the 13 colonies and everything were established, the 13th Amendment's in the fucking Constitution. So how do they get around saying, you talk to these lawyers, it was never ratified. That's old shit. We don't use old shit. I'm telling you, the older the law, the more true, the more correct it is. The older the language, the more true and the more correct it is. So when I have a lawyer say, oh, that's old shit, we don't use that anymore. I know why you don't use that anymore. Because it's hard to really swindle and fuck people over when we use the true and correct law, when we utilize the true and correct language. It's really hard for you to master your craft with people who are highly articulate and intelligent and understand the older the law, the more true and virtuous it is. I get it. Hard to overturn that property, ain't it? Hard to be an attorneur and turn property, which is rights from one to another, which is from you to their principal corporation. Anyway, that's about enough of my rant and rave this morning. There are a lot of questions about the CPS. That shit just needs to be flat out fucking abolished. I noticed at one point in that video, because I go and rewatch the stuff that I make, I noticed that I said it needs to be reformed. Fuck, it don't need to be reformed. It needs to be straight up abolished, euthanized, executed, put to bed, put to rest, in the bin, in the trash. That's what needs to happen. Only lies deserve scrutiny and inspection. Yeah, well, Terry, it was a pleasure meeting you out in Indiana, by the way. And we'll meet again real soon. One of the things about the judiciary is they can't stand against the slightest bit of scrutiny. And the proof is in the pudding. When you ask them a direct question and they just fucking flat out abscond from answering it. I had my mother sit in a court one time for, about an hour with me. And I was drilling these people with poignant questions and they just ignore it. She goes, Derek, why won't they answer you? I said, because they're in fear. They're in fear. The second they open their mouth, they're fucked. Because I know what they're doing, and there is no getting around it. You can bullshit the crowd all day long, but you ain't gonna bullshit the fans. And let me tell you, I'm a fucking fan of what they're doing. Not in a positive way, but I'm a fan. And you ain't gonna piss on my back and convince me it's fucking raining. I ain't fucking stupid. So, that bar attorney is there to give you up. The straw man. The game is rigged. Yes, it is. Well, let me tell you what the attorney told me the other day. We walk out of the court, and he tells me, Derek, this is a $63 deal. $63 a what? And I don't ask him that because I want to get to the point here. I just told him, I don't have any animosity towards you. He goes, I don't have any animosity towards you either. I said, where's your fucking victim, pal? Who's your victim? Well, Derek, you got to pay that state tax. No, I don't know that. Somebody better fucking prove it to me. I said, you want to know how I know that I don't fucking owe that? Here's how I know that I don't know that. Your alleged state deputy sheriff, which doesn't exist in the fucking Constitution anywhere, okay, who applied for the job, didn't get voted fucking in or elected, told me that I had to do a thing. And I says, you know what? I'll do that thing. You put it down on paper and sign your name to it and wedding signature, giving me the order to register it, and I'll go register it right fucking now. You prove to me, put your money where your fucking mouth is, and give me the order to go register it, and I'll do it. Guess what he wouldn't do? Oh, that's right. I'm not going to do that. It's the law. You either do it or else. Oh, now you're going to threaten me. Ain't got the balls to put your name into something you believe in that you think is a law, but you got the balls to threaten me? Are you fucking off your rocker? Are you fucking stupid? Well, I'm not threatening you. Oh, okay. So what happens if I don't register it? Well, then we're going to bring a court case against you. Oh, so you are threatening me. Yeah, and you'll probably go to jail. Oh, so you are threatening me. Is jail worse of a place than where I am currently? Probably. Is it pleasant there? No. Do people like being in jail? No. So you're not threatening me? No, I'm not threatening you. But what happens if I don't go register this by what date again? Oh, by December of some day? Okay. You're going to put me in jail? Well, I'm not going to put you in jail, but they might put you in jail. Oh, so you are threatening me again. Who's the injured party? Who do I owe? Where's the true bill doing on? Tell you what, Deputy Steinbeck, you show me how to properly register a private household consumer good tax exempt, and I'll go register it right now, and you don't have to give me an order, and it won't cost you a motherfucking thing. We're not going to show you how to do that, so you admit that it can be done. Your omission is an admission, fucker. So you're openly absconding from your duty. You want me to go do something, and yet when there's another viable option that I won't bill you for, you tell me to go fuck myself. We're going to see how well this works for him. I've just been playing stupid in their court so I can get to the district court so I can keep rolling around. I'm just playing fucking stupid. And some of them in the judiciary know that I'm just playing stupid. Because the only way that you can really get answers is if you get yourself into a fucking position where you can start doing discovery. And then you can start holding these fuckers' feet to the fire with mandamuses and other fucking legal paperwork and documents to get them to either one, expose who they are through omission, or two, get them to expose who they are by admission. There's only one or the fucking other. You're either going to answer my question or you're going to be guilty by failure to respond, and you're going to agree by tacit agreement and acquiescence. I haven't even begun to start to play hardball with these fuckheads. At all. I fucking loved it when Joel J. says, Derek, I ruled in your favor. Motherfucker, you don't even have a victim in this room. No plaintiff has made a general appearance, sworn to and independently bonded in this fucking court case, and I believe none exist. Now it's a matter of fucking law. Well, I'm trying to help you. No, you're not. Because I just made it a matter of fucking law, and your dumbass continued to roll on as though I hadn't said a fucking thing. Now you're complicit in a conspiracy against me to extort me, you stupid fuck. Oh yeah, the subpoenas are coming. Just wait. I just started emailing these guys. We're talking the IRS, the Secret Service, the DOD. My subpoena list is going to be grande. It's going to be beautiful. They'll try and dismiss it before then. But you go to dismiss, I want my rights, titles, and fucking interest, you clowns, for the securities that you jockeyed around and created in my good fucking name that are worth, who knows? Maybe they're worth an infinite amount of credits on account. I really can't tell you. If I made a statement, I'd have to fucking prove it. One thing I can prove is that securities have been generated. All right? But that's about as far as it goes. So anyway, with that said, love y'all. Talk to you soon. I'll let you go. Looks like we got a hound dog coming into town to chase cats or feed the cats, one of the two. But I'm guessing he's feeding them. Please write a book. Please write a book. Security trust accounts. When will the land patent class take place? Good question. Land patent class. More information has been brought to me on the land patent, and so we're just finally going through the last bit of it, critiquing it, making sure that everything we bring is correct and to the point. And also I've got some exciting news about that land patent as well. One of the reasons I'm holding off is I'm currently in a position of doing one for myself. We've done one before and it works, but we forgot to include ourselves last time. So now we're actually doing it for ourselves as well. So the proof is in the pudding on that. Or to remotely listen on your conversation. What do you want? What conversation do you want to listen to? Everything that I do for the most part is either on Facebook, on YouTube, or I do private classes. My last class was how to beat the bank. The information in there is freaking awesome. We're getting great results right now. I'm getting people that are executing these processes going, holy shit, they're running for the hills. And I said, whatever you do, don't stop. Just because they backed off does not mean you have prevailed yet. Don't make that fatal mistake and stop sending them their fucking notices. You follow through all the way to the fucking end. And at the end, if you have to bring that fucking suit, you go file that fucking suit. And that's when they'll come to you with a fucking checkbook. Here you go, we're sorry. And just tell them, just keep writing them zeros. Keep writing them zeros in front of that, or behind that one. Know those cars pulling up beside you. I'm in a small community, I'm not worried about it, and I'm always heavily armed, so it is what it is. And it would be an absolute pleasure to be called home. I am a citizen of the kingdom of God. I am not a citizen of the United States. I am not part of the man-made construct, all right? So it would be a beautiful thing to go home. I honestly didn't know what my purpose for even being here was, even when I was in construction, until they started taking interest in me. And I'm like, this is what I've been called to do? And then recently I got a call from Pakistan to do a sermon, and I just thought it was going to be a couple people. And heck, it was a shanty full of 30 people dressed in brilliant, vibrant clothing. And for like the first 3 or 5 minutes, they beat on pots and pans singing me a song. It was so freaking spiritual. It was so cool. One of the thoughts that crossed my mind is when Trump had the dancing of the swords in Saudi Arabia. And I'm sitting back as these people, I was in my automobile. I was doing it Facebook with them. And these people are all beating on pots and pans, singing in their native tongue. And that was one of the thoughts that came to me. How I'm not a politician. I'm not anybody fucking special. And how I've got people halfway around the world beating on pots and pans and singing and praying for me. That was such a wonderful feeling. I can't even explain it. It was unique. And the kids want Bibles over there. And so I talked to Mr. Anonymous, and he said there ought to be a way that we can find the Bible that's written in their language and also translated into English so they can learn English and read it and understand it. And as I was doing my sermon turned into being about law, consequently enough. I started showing them the grantor-grantee relationship, and they were all excited. I've never seen a group of people get so excited about understanding dominion and grantor-grantee and the trust relationship. And I don't think anybody had ever talked to them about the Bible like that, and showing them that it's a banking manual, and showing them, that it has all the laws in it. It's a book of trust, and all you got to do is acknowledge and accept the Heavenly Father's prayer and put it on record and receive it. And that the church doesn't happen before 4 walls or in 4 walls. Church is where you make it. Your temple's on the left and the right side. And these people were just so excited to hear these truths. And people go, well, where did you learn that, Derek? It's just innately in me. It's not been taught to me. The book is very clear. Keep your temple clean. Well, they ain't talking about fucking a building. Talk about your body. Your body being the temple of Christ. So the temple of the Heavenly Father. But with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. It's getting hot in the sun, sitting here over by the river's edge, and I've got some calls to make. You are a special gift. I hope not. I forgot my Doppler Dawn helmet this morning, so I remember that. I'll grab the short bus the next time. That way we can really have a special meeting. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Love y'all. Thanks for all your support. You can feel free to join selfgovernanceu.com if you want. It's a $17 a month donation. Helps me continue to do what I'm doing and study all the time. Also helps me to put classes together as well. And recently, because of everybody that donates, we were able to help a 9-month pregnant woman get a hotel room. She didn't have a place to go, and to make sure that she wasn't sleeping in her truck. It's already uncomfortable enough to sleep in a truck, just anytime, let alone I couldn't imagine being 9 months pregnant trying to sleep in a truck. I just couldn't imagine that. So thanks to all you guys through the grace of the Heavenly Father and the power and the will that you guys grant to me, we were able to help somebody else. It wasn't just me. It was all of you guys. So I appreciate your support. Keep doing the good works. See what you can do to help your neighbor today. See what you can do. Some of you guys don't even know who your neighbors are. Maybe make it a point today on this beautiful Saturday morning to go next door and just introduce yourself and say hello. In times of such chaotic chaos, it'd be good to know who your next door neighbor is, because you never know. You might just need to depend on them one day. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you soon.